Buckle up and get ready for a roller coaster ride of some tasteless humor, lots of heart, and radical truth with two scrappy chicks. Because adulting is hard, but we are thinking that laughing about it is just so much easier. Welcome back, Mr. Cocktail.
Hi, everybody.
All right, hope
We are
everyone
happy to be
is,
back and happy that you are here to join us.
yeah, and hopefully y'all are staying warm. Like half the country got the snow, and I was just seeing Nashville doesn't have power because I believe they must have got an ice storm after this, and it's like cracking trees and transformers blowing up and stuff. So if we have any Nashville listeners or anybody in the listening area that has no power or that we we'll be praying for you. I don't know if there's, well, by the time you listen to this, which is Tuesday, I mean, hopefully everything is somewhat back to normal, but shout out on
Yeah, it's
the,
kind of a long cold spell, isn't it?
yeah, shout out on the Facebook group if you need anything, send us a message. Because, it takes a village, right? Okay, so what are we going to start with?
Kick it off, Ginger. Go ahead.
Well, um, I I am not ashamed that I have been going to therapy. And what brought this up is I did not want, I just couldn't vision myself in a car for 9 hours back in May of last year to go to Tennessee to a graduation. And I also did not want to get on a plane either after the last time we were on a trip and he got sick out of state, and that gave me anxiety. So
And
T's
you
like,
mean your husband.
yes, yes. So T's like, um, you need to go to therapy because, this is no way to live in fear like this. So I have been, and my therapist says I'm improving, and you just told me today, what was it you said today?
You're less fearful.
Okay.
You're more willing to do things and try things. Not that you're thrilled or excited about it, but you're trying and you're doing them. So kudos to you. I'm very proud of you.
Yeah. Well, we're supposed to go to Naperville for dinner, but I'm like, no, I'm not driving in this. And the reason why I won't drive in this, yes, I have a all-wheel drive vehicle and different functions in it. But if it's going to take me twice the time to get there, um, and I'm not so afraid of my driving, I know how I drive, and it's the other people, and I did experience that yesterday because we decided to go locally and I drove and I wasn't fearful, but I was turning left and no one was coming from the left or the right. And I turn and all of a sudden I look in my mirror and I'm like, where did this person come from? They get on my tail and then they go in the opposite lane to pass me and they were flying and I was just like, I look at my husband, I go, what the hell was that? So, yeah. So it's people
And
like
that's the
that.
very reason why I avoid expressways and highways because it's bad
Yeah.
enough on the regular streets,
Yeah. And I'm glad,
right? When they're on the highways, they're going out three, four times that speed limit. And
yeah, and I'm glad my kids aren't fearful like I am. I'm glad I did not pass it down to them. Um, but it's a work in progress. I'm getting better at um with the driving in the dark. Um, I just got to get over it that I had my cataract surgery. So it's not an issue that I can't see. It's just I still have that memory of almost hitting a freaking medium and thinking my eyes were okay and getting a reality check when I went to the ophthalmologist and he says, You got it in both eyes. And I was living with seeing the world in a yellow shade and not really realizing it. Because once he did one eye, it was like, holy cow, white is white. It's not like grayscale. So yeah, that's a work in progress. But what I'm going to do, um, not sure how many people are familiar with this. It's called EMDR, and it's a therapy that
But tell them what that stands for,
oh,
because it's an
EMD
acronym.
yeah, EMDR is eye movement desensitization and reprocessing. And it was developed in the 80s, and it is good for people who have PTSD. Um, Post-traumatic stress disorder is PTSD. And if you have had traumatic events in your life, and what it does is, uh, well, I'm just going to read off the website. Um, it's a series of standardized procedures. Now, please don't laugh or make fun of me. I sometimes have problems pronouncing words, and Marie gets a kick out of it because, and I still to this I can't get it right. I Ethernet or Ethernet, right?
Ether.
Yeah.
Right.
So Marie gets a kick out of when I mis pronunciate a word.
Misappropriation.
Yeah. So I have a little bit, ADD and some dyslexia, so bear with me. Okay. So, what the therapist does, it guides the patients to recall the distressing memories while simultaneously engaging in bilateral stimulation, usually through guided eye movements. And what it does, it helps the brain reprocess the traumatic event, allowing individuals to integrate these experiences into their past and reduce their emotional charge. And they did studies, and they said after three 90-minute sessions that 84 to 90% people no longer met the criteria for PTSD. And I was like, wow, just three um, sessions? I mean, wow. Um, and I believe it's covered by insurance, so I will be finding out tomorrow. And I will give updates on it. I hope it's not really traumatic to go through it, but maybe that's what the goal is, just to get it all out and not live it over and over and over again. Um, because while, regular therapy is like talking it out and that, I don't know, there's something about this the EMDR that they people really swear by that it works. And like they said, if you know anyone with post-traumatic stress syndrome, and even like somebody who was in the military, they could have that, or um, like trauma, like me, the domestic violence that I endured. And so, yeah, I am excited to try that. And speaking of all that, um, we will call the ick number one. No surprise to hear. Once again, he was arrested and had to do with his anger. And a leopard never loses its spots. And you could sit there and say, I'm a good person, I'm a good person. Well, actions speak louder than words. And I decided, I no longer am going to let my past define my present and my future. And this was what Halloween. I had a um uh my camera went off and I looked. I wasn't home, I was working, and it was the ick number one. And I was like, and the doorbell wasn't working. So um nobody answered the door. I wasn't home. And I was like, what the heck? Because he was standing there with his phone. Like whoever answered, he was going to hit record. So I contact someone that would know more about why he was there and was told that, oh, he got a call and it was a scam call. That I had warrants. And I'm like, why the heck would they call him? And um they wouldn't call him. I would have whoever at my door. And I got that same call the next day and I looked up the number and it said it was a scam. And and I'm like, I bet you these people probably told him he'd get a reward or something. And that's why. But I was like, who the F do you think you are to come to my door? And it just gave me
Right.
a pit in my stomach, that sinking feeling. And
That
like,
old familiar feeling, right? That
yes,
really uncomfortable feeling. I know.
like I felt violated. And
Yeah.
I made sure to tell um who's in contact with him for unfortunate reasons. You tell him, do not ever step on my property again, or I will have him arrested for trespassing. I says there is nothing I have to say to him, and there's nothing he has to say to me that matters. And
Well,
um
and then that also brought up this whole thing with Tepe because these types of people with these behaviors, and just like you said, this person was recently arrested for criminal property damage.
mhm,
And then we think about Tepe, who was angered, obsessed, whatever, couldn't let it go, ends up driving all those hours to her home, somehow gains entrance into her home, and does the unthinkable, the unimaginable, your worst nightmare. And people who haven't been in that situation, you mentioned that pit in your stomach. We
mhm,
always live with that. Always. That never goes away.
yeah,
And you're saying you're no longer going to allow your past to define your future. You're no longer going to allow that
or my
fear
present.
or your present. You're not going to allow that fear in your life anymore. And I think for me at least, and I have been told I shouldn't talk about certain things. And I'm here to say I'm going to talk about certain things because just like you, I'm going to stand in my truth. I'm not going to let my past define my future. I'm not going to be afraid of these people. I'm going to move forward in my truth and I'm going to speak my truth. And it's going to make people uncomfortable. And guess what? I don't care. And you don't care either. Because why should I live with that pit in my stomach? Why should I live in fear? Why should I? They don't care about me.
Hmm.
Why should I do that? I'm not doing that anymore. Especially, and I think you and I had this discussion too, which is really unfortunate. Couple of things is that there's still a lot of victim blaming going on because I've been hearing and reading and seeing people talk about, and this is my take, what I'm seeing victim blaming. She divorced him, even though she told, friends and family he was a monster and he was unbearable. And she did everything she could to extricate herself from that situation. And then she moved forward and was involved with what looks like a very healthy, happy relationship. They were married in that home. They had their children in that home, very young children. I think the youngest one's only 17 months old. And she was like many of us do. We share our joy and our happiness
Hmm.
on social media. And they're basically saying they're the way that it's being slanted is essentially, well, what made him do it? Because he's not well. Because this kind of behavior, as we have experienced over and over again, it never ends. And yet the laws are not set up, which is why I would love to see a coercive control law passed in every state to protect women when these men do this, or women. I was telling Ginger statistics today that I was hearing, and it's upwards of 85 to 98% crimes against women perpetuated by men, and usually their spouse or their partner. And I'm not seeing anybody really making him be held accountable. Are you? You know, they're saying, well, he was so successful and they're giving him all these accolades and he was doing so great in his life and all these things. And they're basically kind of shaming her for having a beautiful, wonderful, happy life. And I don't want, and this really all begins and ends with who we pick to have in our lives, which is why I'm so excited and so happy about this person that I found, this Chantal Hyde, Heide, the Canada's dating coach. And I'm telling you, you should go watch her on TikTok. It is a master class in how to handle and vet these people because too often you may make a person wait 3 months, 6 months, whatever, but you're also not vetting them. Aside from not having an intimate relationship with them, you have to be vetting them. Are they matching all the characteristics that you want in a person? And that could be a man, that could be a woman, that could be a friendship or a business situation or even family members. We are the ones that are the masters of our destiny. You have to be in the driver's seat and you have to have the information, right? Because if I had this information, these tools, and these resources before I met my ick number one and my ick number two, I would never have gotten into a relationship with them at all. And yeah, so that's kind of where we're going with that.
Okay. Um, yes. So part of my no longer letting my past define my present and future, that's what I hope to get out of the EMDR. Right? Onward and
Yes,
upward.
onward and upward, right? I mean, you're doing everything that you can. You're doing the heavy lifting,
Mm-hmm.
and nobody can make us better. We have to do it ourselves, and that goes
Yeah.
for everybody. Everybody.
And how I lived for 9 miserable years and just being like my self-esteem was just like so low and feeling like I was, worthless and this and that. And was I scared to go out on my own? Absolutely. But I rather have that fear, figuring out how I'm gonna do this, survive and raise 2 kids, than have the fear, am I gonna get the shit kicked out of me when I go home? So yeah, um, opting to leave was the best thing, and it was kind of funny to hear as I was moving out, uh, him and his friend talking and them saying, "Don't worry, she'll be back." Never,
Yeah, right.
never went back.
Yeah, and my ick number one literally told me the same thing as I'm walking out the door with my 1-year-old daughter in my arm, and I'm walking out the door, and he literally said to me while laying on the couch, "You'll be back." And I looked at him and I'm like, "We shall see, won't we?" And I never went back. And
Mm-hmm.
it's not like he didn't try or didn't ask, but
Yeah.
that was a heck no.
And I did
And
not,
then after the second one, that was ick number two, which was even worse than the first one, if you can imagine, which is
yeah.
one of the why I really quit dating. But yeah, they like when I left, he had no clue, and that was very exciting for me and very gratifying. And I encourage any woman, sometimes you just need to keep your mouth shut and don't tell them anything and just do it. Just
Yes.
leave, get out while you can.
Yes. And I did not appreciate the games even
Mm-hmm.
after.
Mm-hmm.
Um, because when you leave, you're taking their control away, and then they play games to try to keep the control
Yeah,
going.
right. And that's the most dangerous time for a woman when they
Yeah,
leave.
narcissist. And there was one time he was supposed to give me the child support check. Should have just went through the courts. Would have been so much easier because I shouldn't have to fight for it.
Mm-hmm.
And he
Mm-hmm.
said I couldn't have it until I had sex with him since he was still paying for it. And I was just like, and all I asked was for $30 a week
Yeah, oh my
for
God,
myself for
that's
two
exactly what,
years.
yeah, that's exactly what I asked ick number one for. While he's got his girlfriend living with him and her, fitty kids.
Hmm.
And he fought me tooth and nail on $30. And like you said, and after a while, you're just so tired of fighting for it. It's
Hmm.
like, okay, fine. Then, then have it be that way. What else am I going to do? Like I said,
Yeah.
like you said, fight for $30. And he knew the situation that I was in.
And then,
They don't care because
yeah.
they're mad that you left.
And then child support, and this is going back to like the early 2000s, was 860 a month. And that lasted only a year because Ick number one purposely quit his union job to screw with me.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
not realizing you're screwing with the kid's livelihood. And didn't keep insurance on him. And then I had to do that. Didn't pay for half. Everything was in the divorce decree. Did not pay for half of medical bills, sports, and all that other stuff. And uh oh, as I was saying, what he did was he tried to say he wouldn't give me child support unless I you know,
Had relations.
yeah. And I was like, okay, is that what you're saying? Yes. Your exact words, yes. I'm like, okay, just want to make sure I get it right when I go in front of the judge and tell him this. And I got in the car, started driving away, and he starts running after the car with the check. Because I was like, I'm not effing around anymore. You're not going to screw with my livelihood.
Right.
So, um, and then even after that, like I said, quitting to go make half of what he used to make, and then just kept reducing child support, reducing child support. And for a while there, his father was sending it. And then for a year, I got nothing. And I said, this is it. This is enough. And I had to take him to court. And of course, he went easy way out and went on disability. And I don't know um, how, because I've known people who have a hard time getting it. But um, I don't know. There's just people that play the system and it just pisses me off.
Well,
So,
and this is the thing. This is why I'm such a huge proponent of we have to be preemptive for ourselves, right? Because you're doing the hard work for yourself. And then moving forward, if someone comes into your life and they start exhibiting these behaviors, I can't speak for you or for anybody else, but I know for
mhm,
me, it's going to be a hard line. It's going to be a no. I don't care who
mhm.
that person is,
Yeah.
especially when I'm acting in good faith and I'm starting to see these red flags. It's going to be a no. It's going to be a
Hmm.
block, delete, remove, and cleanse.
Yeah.
There will be no chances or second chances because they show examples too of, women basically saying, no, that's okay. We're just, you go your way, I'll go my way, and how they continue to play the mind game with you. Well, if you just do this, and if you would just do that, and if you would just say this, and you can't, why are you being that way? Makes a woman question, well, gosh, am I not being fair? Am I not being kind? Am I not giving him a chance? No, run, because it never ends
Right?
and they don't change. And how many women do we have to see in this situation living through this hell for the rest of their lives because they are not being held accountable for their coercive control, for their behavior?
Yeah.
And then look at this Tepe thing. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
and I think I told you too, here's my take on that too, is that, it's gotten to the point in society where it's become almost expected or acceptable. But because this man also, you know, murdered her husband, that's when men start to get upset, when other men start getting caught in the crossfire. They'll still blame her because she left. How dare she? How dare she leave and have a life and be happy without the abuser?
Mm-hmm.
And then when other men get caught in the crossfire, they're still going to blame her. Oh, I can just hear it now. Well, then you just shouldn't date somebody who's had that kind of relationship in the past, and instead of holding other men accountable. Because I have heard this said, and I will say it here too, it has to be all men until it's no men. Just like with women. I mean, if there was the 95, 98% statistics of this type of thing happening by women against men or by women against children, trust me, the laws would be so strict and so final and so done. I have seen videos of how judges talk to and treat women for minor offenses, and then when there's a man standing in front of him who's, um, and I don't know what we're able to say on here, but SA'd a woman while she was intoxicated 3 times. She basically had to talk her way out of that to get him to bring her home because she was terrified he was going to do something to her, something worse. And the judge basically gave him like 2 weeks house arrest or something like that. And the woman gave
Yeah.
her victim impact statement about what happened to her. And the prosecutor had lied to the judge and said that he contacted her and she didn't want to give her impact statement. Well, I didn't see the prosecutor, who was a man, being reprimanded by the judge. I didn't see this man, who was a repeat offender, getting anything serious like the jail time he should have had. And then we see this thing happening with the Teppies and we wonder why. I think it's women are coming together now and finally saying enough's enough. If anything's going to change, it has to be us because I don't see the men doing anything, in my opinion, my humble opinion.
Yes. So where was I with oh, ick number one. Yeah, it there was a lot of games played and I didn't tolerate it, and I'm glad my kids are older adults, and they have nothing to do with him, and that's his own doing. I I have nothing to do with it. I unlike him did not uh throw him under the bus. He did that all by himself, and the kids seeing for themselves. And they're not the only ones. There's others. So you know that it's not the kids. So, all right, done talking about that. Um,
I know, because we could talk about that forever.
right? Let's do the chame. Okay. A man should be walking behind the wife and the kids. And
Or the girlfriend,
yes,
partner.
yes. And then you're loading them up in the car. You don't get in the driver's seat, and then mom has to get everybody buckled in that, and then she gets in. No, you help.
Yeah, because well, Ginger, I'm sorry. I thought men are supposed to be the protectors and the providers. Is that protecting or providing?
Uh,
That ain't, is that an example of being protective of your family? Or is that just an example of how much you don't care about your family? I don't know. Help me clarify that.
That's been
Seriously.
our favorite word, the FO.
Oh, I'm like, I'm so confused because I told you that I saw that at a coffee place over here where it was an older couple, no kids, but the woman, and at first I didn't even think they were together because the way that he came out of the store, came out walking, do, 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 and then there's a woman comes out, with her handful of, two drinks and like a little baggie of food, comes out, a little bit behind him, and he's like, do, 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 gets in the car, like you said, gets in the car, and then she's got to get in herself, open the car door for herself, because God forbid he reach over and open the door for her, even though she's got the drinks and the food in her hand. I'm thinking to myself, oh my God, he does not care about her at all. And we just have built up such a tolerance, ladies, to this kind of disrespect. And it's once you see it, you can't unsee it. And that's when you and I were talking about this.
Yeah,
And then talk about Das, what he saw. That because that was the one, right?
yeah, yeah, yeah. Walking through the parking lot, and little girl was straggling behind, and everyone was ahead of her. And then they get to the vehicle, and the mom's loading the kids up, and he gets in the driver's seat and not helping. And he's just like, uh-uh. Yeah, that really bothered him. But he didn't say anything, but it bothered him.
I know. And see, and that's the thing. It's like then you hesitate to say anything to anybody because you don't know what this guy's like, right?
Yeah,
Could be a
yeah, because
crazy
he'd be like,
person.
mind your own business, you know?
Right. So then we'll just talk about it here in our podcast. We're gonna
Right?
call you out on your BS.
Yeah. Shame, shame, shame.
Shame, shame, shame.
Um, let's see. Uh,
Oh, and
here's
should we
a,
do a shame, shame, shame on commitments?
no, I think one's enough. We could do it on the next one.
Okay.
Want to talk really quickly about scams, like buyer beware, especially on Facebook. If it sounds too good to be true, it is. Das thought he was buying a shed, like one of those plastic sheds you just put together, just to have a shed, and never got it. Followed the delivery, and then we find out it got delivered to Texas. We're like, we don't live in Texas. And then we find out it wasn't a shed, it was some clothes delivered to some address in Texas. So he had to take all that information and go to the bank, get the card canceled, and get a refund. It was only like $100, but still,
That
beware.
crazy.
Yeah, beware
That's
of what you buy on Facebook. And he's had numerous times where his card gets compromised, and it's just crazy. So beware. Uh, are we going to say a funny story?
um
And with the funny story?
I can't think of one right now. I have to say it when we're talking about it, I have to take better notes because there was some really funny stuff we were talking about.
Yeah.
Like someday we'll have to get into we don't have the time here now, but did we talk about the New Year's Eve party with the blizzard and everything?
I did with Ashley about my thumb.
Okay. Oh yeah.
Yeah. Um,
So we'll get into that next time too. There's a couple of things I'm taking notes now so I don't forget our chame 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 and a funny
yeah.
story about that same night because you and I had very different experiences, but it was still so funny.
Well, here's the funny one. There's a pattern with me, and whether I'm doing a podcast with you or Ashley, I warn you, if you see the audio go mute, then you know to look at your phone because I sent you a text and I have to go take a poop. And I don't know why. There's something about before or during. I have to, and it's weird. I don't know what brought this up, but yeah, and I just think it's kind of funny because and it happened with Ashley where she had to, and she texted me, and I was like, okay, and the stuff I was saying was like it would have been helpful having her respond because I was just like, and it was, I think, the most recent podcast from Friday. If you listen to that, you might catch where she went to the bathroom, but she was quick. But can't help
I
it.
know. I know. You can't. Nature calls. You must answer.
No, and there's something about getting in the winter when it's cold like this, I wear a very long jacket, and Das calls it my sleeping bag. And there's something, and my car is in the garage, thank God. But there's something about getting ready, getting all that on, and then you get out to the garage, you hit the cold, and you're like, "Are you kidding me?" And then I gotta
Right.
come in, take it all off, and go because I really don't like to have to stop at gas stations and, public washrooms and go because I don't know, I just don't feel like they're as clean. Like with Das going to the Y, he brings bacteria wipes, and then he has this little Lysol spray bottle, and he brings several towels because he puts one down to stand on because he does not want to stand on the floor while changing. And then, of
Hmm.
course, the towel to dry off. And then as soon as he comes home, it goes in the wash. And then he sprays the area with the Lysol spray. After he got sick twice, um, back in October and then December, he's like, I think I've become a germaphobe because he even now has hand sanitizer on his keychain. And
Yeah.
I don't blame him because,
Well, there's so many people out there, and let's face it, there's a lot of really not so clean people out there who don't
yeah,
really understand basics of hygiene.
yeah, wash your hands, because it's disgusting when I'm hearing about people go, well, after I use the gas pump, I wipe my hands with you know, like a antibacterial towel. And I was just like, oh crap, why didn't I think about that? But I know when I come home from the store after grocery shopping, I wash my hands as soon as I
Hmm.
come
Hmm.
in. And now
Yep.
after I pump the gas, I have antibacterial wipes and I wipe my hands off. So, I mean, people are disgusting that they don't wash their hands after they go to the bathroom and they sneeze or cough, don't cover their mouth, or they cough in their hand and don't clean their hand and then they're touching everything. Because I swear to God, when I got chicken pox, when Ashley was just under a year old, or maybe she was a little, no, she was two. Um, I she didn't have it at the daycare. I'm the one that came down with it, and I think I got it off the damn grocery cart at the store.
Yep. Yep. Well, I used to do the same thing. I mean, when I worked out of the home full time, I used to get that on guard stuff from doTERRA, and I had that spray bottle. And I would even do that when I would, go into the women's restroom. I would spray everything before I touched it, and then sprayed my hands afterward, and sprayed my steering wheel, and you just got to be careful. Try you can only do so much, But yeah,
Yes.
it's no fun, and when you go to a gym, especially, I just don't think people um are very attentive to their personal hygiene. I just don't think they care
Yeah.
about the person coming up behind them. So anyway, we're gonna have to wrap up because time is
Yeah.
closing up very quickly.
Be mindful, be clean, and
Yes, be
stay safe,
safe, do your vetting.
stay warm, and we will see you here next time on Two Scrappy Chicks podcast.
Bye. We love our scrappy peeps. So thank you all for joining us and becoming part of our flock. So please like, subscribe, and share. And if you don't like us, unfortunately, yo mama. But if you do like us, We look forward to seeing you next time on Two Scrappy Chicks.